Thank you again to thousands of new subscribers just over the last 24 hours. Thank you for being part of this weather community. And our longtime subscribers, thank you for sharing this with others. Now, two spots to watch. One tropical disturbance sliding into Trinidad and Tobago today. We'll zoom into that. I'll show you the rain totals in that. I'm not seeing development out of that, but we are going to see some tropical downpours moving by. And this spot, once again, very similar to what we saw with Chantal. This is a new area that I want to keep an eye on. The northeastern Gulf back toward the southeast U.S. for the potential of more development in about 6 to 7 days from now. So again, a heads up, a new area that I am watching. And now the European model is even kind of picking up on that. Overall, it's not showing big signs of development, but a new spot to watch would be right through here, because what's going to happen is we're going to get these fronts dropping in just like we had with Tropical Storm Chantal, and then somewhere near the southeast coast or in the northern Gulf, we're going to see an area of rain. I want to show you that in this video, and that area may eventually develop in a similar fashion. So again, a couple spots we're watching, that tropical disturbance and this new area to watch as we go over the next week. As I mentioned, July is going to get more and more active, and we have more and more areas that we're keeping an eye on. Right now, watching out for heavy areas of rain, parts of Mexico, near Guatemala, and then I'm keeping an eye on this kind of broad spin with this tropical wave that's been moving by. Haiti, Jamaica, we've had a couple showers for some of us overnight and early this morning, even eastern Cuba, right up through the Turks and Caicos and Bahamas. Here's that new area that's sliding into Trinidad that I was talking about yesterday, and you can see it here, this flare up of some rain that will be pushing in to Trinidad and Tobago, clipping Grenada, St. Vincent the Grenadines, and it will enhance that chance of rain Guyana. And here's northeastern Venezuela, where we'll have a better chance of rain as this tropical disturbance moves in. Again, I'm not seeing signs of development, but we will see some of those downpours. Some spots could get over 3 inches or 75 millimeters of some rain, right? It just kind of depends. It's not an organized area, so it's a broken area of rain. So some spots may get some downpours, others not a whole lot, but the potential is there for 75 millimeters or over 3 inches of rain with some tropical downpours for some of us, just as this moisture swings in. So giving you the heads up across Trinidad and Tobago. We'll get back to that in a moment. Then out here, so here we are in the Caribbean, Dominica, Barbados, St. Lucia, a couple more tropical waves that are now starting to hang together a little bit more so. The ICON German model has been hinting at some development out of these, so we'll be watching that together as we go long term. Now, I'll swing back toward the southeast U.S. in just a moment. Let's cover this first, because this is where we have some of the rain moving in. You see scattered rain, southeastern Caribbean. There's the rain, Bahamas, Cuba, back through Jamaica. Not widespread, but we could get a couple thunderstorms and a few downpours. Haiti, watching out for that chance of some showers where we need to get some rain. Rain chance not high for later today, but still a couple showers. There's that moisture, still that chance of scattered areas of rain. Southeastern Caribbean, spotty showers. Northern Caribbean, this is our Wednesday. And as we get toward the end of the week, we're going to see things getting more and more active. So watch this as we go into Thursday. We'll be seeing a tropical wave sliding and enhancing the rain across Central America, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, and then we'll be watching out for a new tropical wave sliding in. Look at this. By the time we get into Friday, that better chance of rain again, southeastern Caribbean, and that higher chance of rain in Central America. So we're going to see things getting only more active through the end of the week. I'll be watching this for any signs of development as it enters the Caribbean. I'm not seeing that right now, but things kind of, let's say, holding together a little bit more so it does have my attention. Now, we switch back to the north, and I want to take you out in time here. This is the area we're going to be watching once again for the potential of some development, and I'll start to see by later this week if this is going to really develop. What's happening is we get these fronts diving down again, just like we saw how Tropical Storm Chantal formed, and then the American model and almost all of the models are picking up on something, some area of rain. And once again, the American model, like it did with Chantal, showing some of that rain in the northern Gulf. But with that said, this here is a week from now, so we've got some time to monitor this area. But Chantal, it didn't really develop here. It was more so over here. So it'll be wait and see to see, one, if something develops, and then two, does it shoot back toward the Carolinas again, or does it kind of move its way back towards, say, parts of Louisiana or Texas? Not sure. Nothing's even developed, but all of the models hinting at some development, and I don't just look at the models. I look at what's going on in the environment. What I'm seeing in the environment is that these fronts are going to be dropping in, and they could just leave some moisture hanging around. Steering currents aren't too high in here in the atmosphere, so that could leave some blobs of moisture, and then those areas could develop. Water temperatures are still, of course, very warm this time of year. It's summer. They're going to be warm everywhere, but in particular, northern Gulf running at about 85, 86, 87, 88 degrees. And you see here's the Gulf Stream, that very warm water current that Chantal fed off of. So definitely a spot to monitor as we go forward. So watching a couple areas. On top of that, watching the dust. This is today. Belize, we're going to have some of that dust around. If you're in Belize or the Yucatan Peninsula, even Guatemala and parts of Honduras, if you have any breathing issues, they could be a little bit worse for today. With that Saharan dust, this moves over to the Bay of Campeche, and then will lift its way. You can see here, this is by the time we get into Thursday, parts of Texas and Louisiana. In that new area of dust, I was giving you that heads up yesterday, Wednesday into Thursday will start to move in for us. It's not as thick, but Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla, St. Kitts and Nevis, U.S., British Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, a new area of dust by the end of the week will be sliding our way. So a couple pockets of dust, watching those in between the tropical waves. Now, watching these fronts, these are the fronts that will eventually leave that moisture that could lend itself to some development down here, but some heavier weather, mid-Atlantic, severe weather possible today. Watching over toward parts of Nova Scotia, we get to have some heavier weather squeaking by the Atlantic region of Canada. Here are the storms yesterday that brought some of those tornadoes back toward the Dakotas that I was mentioning yesterday. Once again, by tomorrow, the mid-Atlantic, another hot spot for some rain and storms. That could lead itself to some additional flooding where we had Chantal, parts of Virginia and North Carolina, watching those rivers. And you see all the way through the end of the week, the southeast is busy. This will be the spot to watch for some of that rain being left over that may develop tropically again. And then watching out for some heavier storms right in through here by the time we get into Thursday, watching over toward the plains, parts of the Midwest, and then kind of clipping by Quebec over toward the Atlantic region of Canada. We'll get a couple systems moving in, but we do need to keep an eye on this spot here and those stronger tropical waves out there in the Atlantic. Eastern Pacific side, not as busy, but this area here, while I'm not seeing development as it kind of scoots south of Acapulco and Zihuatanejo, it is going to feed in some of that extra moisture. I'll monitor for some development. This here is by tomorrow, but regardless of development, as this shifts its way off toward the west, kind of the backside of that, feeding some of that rain, swinging back toward parts of southern Mexico, Mexico proper, with some of that moisture that will be feeding in as we go throughout the week, monitoring some of that flooding. Now, the seas are going to be building. We have a new tropical wave, tropical disturbance sliding in near Trinidad. Seas are going to be on the choppier side, no doubt, as we go throughout the end of the week. This here is by the time we get into Friday, watching the Caribbean, the Atlantic passageways for those choppier seas that we're going to have over the next few days. Now, as far as the rain goes, watching out for spotty showers and storms, hit or miss Cuba, the Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, as I was mentioning, Jamaica, Cayman Islands, Haiti, the DR, same thing. If you get a shower or a thunderstorm, 50 millimeters of rain would be a possibility. If you don't get anything, it is just super hot and, of course, on the dry side. But watching out for that chance of some scattered showers and storms. You see Puerto Rico, for example. Some of us could be dry, but if we get a thunderstorm, we could get a quick 3 inches of rain, couple spotty showers possible, U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Here's that rain that's trying to move toward Trinidad and Tobago, northeastern Venezuela today. That'll clip by southern end of the Grenadines over toward Grenada. Really, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados south, a better chance of some of that rain. You see it right through Guyana today, northern Suriname, some higher totals. Interior Venezuela, that's where we could have some flooding. Interior sections of Colombia, and then scattered areas of rain through Central America. Belize again, some spots dry. Others, we could get a quick couple inches of rain or 50 millimeters if we get some showers. But there's that rain feeding in. Southern sections and then kind of riding up through Mexico with some heavier totals. That could be upwards of 150 millimeters of rain. There will be flooding in parts of Mexico, and then this interior scattered storms. But look at the Carolinas, even back toward parts of Georgia, with repeat systems moving by, we can get an additional 4, 5, even 6 inches of rain. So as I mentioned, Virginia, North Carolina, additional flooding possible, and that chance of some severe storms even an isolated tornado risk. So Jamaica, rain chance a little higher for us today. A 40% chance of a scattered shower storm moving by and a 30% chance across the Cayman Islands. Trinidad and Tobago, we have a 70% chance today. It's not all day stuff. But watching out for that higher chance of rain with that tropical disturbance sliding in that I've been highlighting. 20 to about 30% chance in Barbados and a 30% chance in the next couple of days in St. Lucia to the south. That's where we have a little bit more. Grenada. Our rain chance later today will bump up to 60%. Even tonight as that area moves by while you're sleeping, there may be a little bit of rain. Same thing, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, especially southern islands. 30 to 40% chance in Martinique and a 30% chance over the next couple of days in Dominica. Rain chance holding at 30% in Guadeloupe over the next couple of days, and then about a 40% chance, a couple passing showers around Antigua, Barbuda today, and then by the end of the week, we'll see that next round of some of that dust moving in. A couple passing showers, rain chance 40% today, St. Kitts and Nevis and Montserrat, and a 40% chance again today, Anguilla and St. Bart's. Isolated as we get towards St. Martin, St. Bastacia, can't rule out a couple showers. In Puerto Rico, as I mentioned, some spots dry, but others, we could get some heavier thunderstorms now. The pattern is getting more active. Even a couple showers and storms will be possible near the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Scattered areas of rain and storms, northern, central, and southern Bahamas, including down through the Turks and Caicos. Today, a little more active. We've had some rain nearby from overnight, and you see the rain chance has bumped up across the DR, a 40 to 50% chance, even across Haiti. We had a couple showers and storms overnight, a 30 to 40% chance for us over the next few days. Belize, rain chance starting to bounce back some tomorrow and Thursday, 40% chance. Watching that dust around today. Aruba, rain chance about 20%, both today and tomorrow, and looking at a 30% chance, climbing to about a 40% chance on Thursday. Curacao over toward Bonaire, rain chance in Guyana, higher today, a 70% chance of rain and a 60 to 70% chance in Suriname, favoring northern sections. Rain chance in Cuba building with scattered areas of rain and storms around, especially eastern end. And then Costa Rica, we'll see that rain chance starting to bump up once again by the end of the week. Nicaragua, 50% chance today, a 60% chance tomorrow. And you see in Honduras, 40% chance today, but by Thursday, we're up to about a 60% chance. It'll be building as well toward the end of the week. Guatemala and El Salvador, Mexico City, monitoring some of that flooding around in scattered areas of rain and a few storms around the Yucatan Peninsula as we go over the next couple of days. Northern Colombia, rain chance 50% by tomorrow. Northern Venezuela, 40% chance today and a 60% chance tomorrow. 10 to 20% chance as we work our way back through Bermuda. So tropical wave, tropical disturbance sliding into the Caribbean now. These tropical waves coming off the coast of Africa, as I mentioned, there are more signs that they'll at least hang together some, bring us a better chance of rain, but I'll watch out for any signs of development. And then watching the Northeast Gulf and the Southeast U.S. as a whole for the potential of new development. I'll be watching that as we go throughout the week, so a busier pattern ahead. Got you covered right here. I hope you have a good day ahead.